Hey guys, Frank here and welcome back to the New Vision channel where we talk about all things real estate. Our goal with this channel is about learning and sharing sound principles of starting and growing a viable real estate business. Please note that even though we use real estate as a vehicle to explain these concepts, these ideas also hold true for many other types of businesses. This video is a continuation of the series on bookkeeping. And some of the things we are going to discuss here assumes that you are familiar with previous videos. If you are new to the channel, you can follow the preceding videos in the playlist shown. In part 6 of this series, we showed how you can use the concept of flows, first to understand the nature of a transaction and then to enter it into your bookkeeping system. In that video, we simply showed how you would enter such transactions without actually demonstrating in a real bookkeeping system. In this video, we will take the next step and show you how you can begin to create a simple but functional bookkeeping system for your real estate business. There are a couple of reasons to consider this approach for your bookkeeping needs. The first is that most people start out their business small with only a single or handful of units. At this point in the life of your business, you most likely have more time than money, so you can use that time in this type of learning, which will benefit you later on. And secondly, you can spare yourself the expense of a professional bookkeeping package from which you are not likely going to get too much use in the beginning. Thirdly, one of the main objectives of bookkeeping when you're starting out is just to make sure that your information is organized during tax time. And for this reason, the main report that you want to produce at the end of the year is a simple profit and loss report, which shows what your rental revenue was and what the associated expenses of running the business were. For this simplification, we are going to assume that when you started your rental business, you simply opened one checking account at the bank through which you funneled every transaction for the business. And indeed, this is all you are likely going to need when you are starting out with your first property. The task at hand then, with your bookkeeping system, is simply to make sure that every one of those bank transactions has a proper description and categorization. The question then is, how would you proceed in implementing such a system? One of the simplest hacks that I have come across is to simply leverage the infrastructure of the banking system. Today, many banks allow you to edit the transaction right within your computer browser. I will show you what I mean. Here I open my business bank account, and within the transaction list, I can simply edit each transaction and categorize it. For example, for a rent transaction, I would simply type rent, and if I choose to do so, I could include the property address. For an expense transaction, I will type the category of the expense and a description of that expense. That's it. At the end of the year, I would simply print my 12 statements, and this would be the documents that I hand over to my accountant. And that's a good enough bookkeeping system when you're getting started with just a single or a handful of properties. The next level to implement a simple bookkeeping system is to make use of commonly available software, such as Excel, that is readily available on most computer systems. There is even a free version like Google Sheets on the Google platform. The benefit here is that you don't have to rely on your banking system infrastructure, and you can simply enter the transaction when it occurs. But to do so, you first have to set up the system. And since you are setting up your own system, you can take advantage of doing so and making it a little bit more functional than what the bank offers. Remember, our goal with this is to make the categorization of each transaction a little bit simpler to understand. And remember that you are going to supply these documents to your accountant at the end of the year for tax purposes. So anything that you can do to make his or her job a little bit easier would likely help reduce your cost for tax preparation. To start, we simply take the same transaction table that most banks typically offer, and that includes a date, a description, and an amount. And to this table, we add a couple more columns. The first is the category of the transaction, and the second is a subcategory of the transaction. In this case, we are really just interested in two categories, income and expenses. So we can create one column for the main category of income or expense, and in the second column, we can create a subcategory for each of the main categories. In other words, for income, we can have the subcategories of things like rent, late fees, and other income. And for the category of expenses, we can have all the subcategories that are commonly allowed by your tax authority. In the United States, that list would include things like mortgage expense, taxes, insurance, and the like. By doing this simple classification, you will be able to enter pretty much all of the transactions that you are going to do for your business, including things like receiving rents and making various expenses to run the business. By the end of the year, you will be able to produce a simple profit and loss report that would first inform you how your business performed throughout that year in terms of profit generation, and secondly, this would help make tax filing a breeze. As I mentioned before, this simple bookkeeping system will not capture some of the complex transactions that can sometimes happen in your business. But when you're just starting out, this type of transaction can be rare and can be handled manually. So a simple profit and loss bookkeeping system might be all you need to be organized and tell the financial story of your business. I will include a link to the simple Excel file that I just used here in this video notes below. Please let us know in the comments below if you find this type of content helpful. You would be encouraging us to create more by clicking the like button and subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please click that notification button so that you would be immediately informed when we put out new content. Many thanks, and see you in the next video.